I'm Des McAnuff. I'm the director of Jersey Boys, and I'm a Canadian. And I want you to come and see the show. And if you do, I promise you, you will thank me.
I'm Sergio Trujillo. I grew up and I was raised in North York. I'm Canadian, and I'm excited to be back home. And you have to come see Jersey Boys, because at the end of the night, you'll be up dancing in the aisles. You won't want to leave the theater. So don't forget, show up, come see our show.
Why, Sergio?
No, you go first.
No, you go first.
No, come on, you go first.
Well, first of all, if we knew what made Jersey Boys such a success, we would do it again. And so clearly we haven't quite figured that out yet. But I think Jersey Boys is a concoction of a lot of disparate elements that create a sort of an unlikely and extraordinary story. You know, Jersey Boys is about family, it's about ambition, it's about friendship, it's about betrayal. It involves the organized crime, it involves the penitentiary, corruption in the music business. It's a kind of an extraordinary rags to riches story. And I think if you've been on a football team, or you've been part of a band, or you've been in the Girl Guides, you know, you can relate to what it feels like to be a part of something that's bigger than you. I think that goes together with really compelling music to make a kind of an extraordinary evening. People come to Jersey Boys expecting great songs. I think what they don't expect is the emotional story that and the emotional ride that the story gives them.
I think audiences connect to the idea of blue collar achieving their dreams, basically. And so I think you can personalize as they're watching it. At the end of the night, you walk away. You know, I want to own a bakery. You know, I think that if I work hard enough, I think I can achieve my dreams. It's basically what I think. So.
It's also got a lot to do with the wonderful choreography. It's there's fantastic steps in the show and musical staging, and so
brilliant staging.
It's I think it's a real thrill for people to watch this show unfold too. You know, it's been a great collaboration with Sergio and Ron Melrose, the music director, and the writers Marshall Brickman and Rick Ellis. And God knows, even though the songs were written years ago, you know, Bob Gaudio and Bob Crew gave us, you know, really extraordinary material, and we have Frankie Valli's voice. So all of those elements I think have added a great deal. Theater's a collaborative art form, and this has been, I think, a tremendous series of partnerships, especially with him.
You know, after I met with Des, and I walked away with all the information, we weren't sure what the show was going to be yet, because we were still figuring it out. But I had done a lot of research already, because I worked with Bob Gaudio on a previous show, Peggy Sue Got Married, which he had written the music for it back in 2001. So I'd done all the research as far as the period, the steps, all the way from 1950 to 1960. 1963, 64. So, you know, I had the information, but I think, you know, and then I went back after I knew I was going to work on Jersey Boys and did research on the Four Seasons, you know, their appearances and other recording groups of that period. And, you know, the boys didn't really dance. They just stood and sang by their mics, play the guitar, play the keyboard. So, you know, I took creative liberties with the show. You know, I put myself in a position, if I was the choreographer of a popular 50s group, what would I do at that point in time? What would I do to make it fresh? And you know, I used a lot of contemporary influences, though, you know, they're subtle. You know, I don't do the twist the way it was done. For instance, our character Tommy at one point, who's actually the most extroverted character out of the four boys. You know, he just, during Big Girls Don't Cry, he does this fantastic mashed potato, and the audiences goes insane. He gets applause, internal applause, during that moment. And so I did. I just Des was incredibly influential. He reined me. He gave me a lot of direction and support and guidance as to which way to go with each specific number. So how can you not choreograph great moves to the music of the Four Seasons?
And it was, I got to say this, it was my lucky day. Originally, I was supposed to work with a different choreographer, and I'd heard about Sergio, and Sergio had worked with my partners, and we had this relatively short meeting. I think it was probably half an hour or less, and instantly I knew that he was the right guy to work with on the show. I mean, there was no question. He actually got up at one point and did a couple of incredibly cool steps, and he happens to be a great dancer as well. And so I had a great feeling about this. And now we've gone on. I think we've done 3 other shows since Jersey Boy. So it was really my lucky day. In a nutshell, in Elizabethan times, Jacobean times, we wanted to go see plays about kings. They had the mystique, they had the power, and that's what we were interested in. And they were basically biographies. Richard II, Henry IV, Part 1, Henry V. These are essentially biographies of kings. In contemporary times, we've replaced, I think, royalty with celebrity. So we all relate to pop stars. We admire them, maybe sports figures too. And so this is really a biography, but once upon a time, we would have actually called this a history. And I think it involves revenge, it involves passion and artistry and power. And so I think it does have a real ambition. I wouldn't compare anyone to Shakespeare, but I certainly think this has a kind of great classical form.